Hello. In this session, we're going to talk about downloading in web control. Now, when we say download, we're simply talking about transferring information from web control to one or more control modules out in the field. And that information can be parameters, schedules, it could be the control programs themselves, or it could actually be the module driver or the operating system of the modules themselves. Now, let's take a look at how we would do something like that. I'm going to navigate to the configure tree in the download page. Now we see here we have an empty box. This is the list of items we're going to download. There's nothing in it right now because we haven't chose any controllers to download yet. On the right-hand side is a list of all of our equipment in the system. And this is where we can add things to the download items box. Now before we do so, let's talk about the types of downloads that we can have. Right here is where we select what we'd like to download. And I'll talk about these items starting from the bottom. A BBMD is simply a small table that gets downloaded into BACnet routers that allows them to traverse IP routers on a complicated network. That's really something for a more advanced topic, and we discuss it in our networking sessions. So let's just go ahead and skip that for now. I just wanted to mention it. We also have the ability to download just schedules, just parameters, or memory. And when you do a memory download in web control, it will always include parameters and schedules. And that's why these boxes right here cannot be deselected. If you wish to download either parameters or schedules or both, you can do so, but to do one of them, you cannot be downloading memory, because that includes all of them. Now, let's go ahead and download memory to some controllers. I'm going to choose two controllers from my network, and what I've done is I held the control key down on the keyboard when I've selected them, so I've used standard Windows functionalities to select more than one item on the list. And I've now added them to the download items section. Notice it's going to tell me the type of download I'm going to get. I'm going to get memory, which includes parameters and schedules. Now, something interesting about a memory download. If we were upgrading our drivers, in other words, the operating system that the module uses, it would also download that module driver. Okay, we're not doing so in this case. So what we're going to get is all of our control programs are going to get downloaded, all of the parameters and all of the schedules for everything in both controllers. Now if I wanted to, I could just download one of them by selecting it and choosing download selected items. If I had a long list, I could use the shift and control keys to select multiple items, or I could download everything. I'm just going to go ahead and download everything on this list, that's both of those items, and the download has now begun. And we're going to know that the download has begun because this download status is going to update us as far as what web control is doing, and web control is right now downloading our BACnet router. In the event of a failure, that failure will be listed here in the failures box, and highlighting it will give us details on why the failure occurred. Now, keep in mind, when you download controllers, all of the outputs go to the default position. So for instance, your relays, if wired to be normally open, will be normally open. There will be 0 volts going out of the 0 to 10 analog outputs, for example. So this will affect equipment in the field when you do a memory download. Downloading parameters and schedules, of course, will not affect the outputs on the controller. Now notice, when I go back to the geographic tree, that I don't have a lot of colors. And the reason for that is all of my control programs right now are residing in my BACnet router. And this reflects the fact that we are not communicating because that particular controller is receiving a memory download. However, I still can navigate around, okay? And once this device comes back online after its download, all of our colors will come back in. And now we see that beginning to happen. And what's nice is that as the remainder of our control programs get downloaded into our second controller, we can now still work with modules that are online. So this first module has been downloaded. You can see now that we can still navigate to it. We can change parameters, for instance, and we can still work in web control despite the fact that the remainder of the controllers are being downloaded. Eventually, that second controller will be downloaded, and we will see these areas come online as well. Now, one other thing I'd like to mention. We don't have to go to the download page to download things like parameters and schedules. Notice I can make a parameter change here, and Web Control is smart enough to realize that it should download that parameter change without me navigating to the actual download page. And the same thing holds true of schedules. If I go to the actual schedule page, you'll notice that there is a Show Advanced button. When we have automatically download schedule selected, simply creating a schedule in Web Control or deleting a schedule in Web Control, for instance, will automatically download the schedule without us having to navigate to the actual download page itself. And as we can see, we finished up our download. We were still able to navigate through the system and work with other areas that were not being downloaded, and that is essentially the download functionality in Web Control.